Hi everyone, I'm Neville Stokes, imaginatively at Nev Stokes in most places online. Put my email address there. I'm a developer at the City of Edinburgh Council. Don't know how many other developers. Okay, there's a few. Exactly a year ago today, 6 a.m, blinking into my coffee with a project manager, Jadu were getting ready to push the button on our new responsive website, which all went great. Launch was met with good approval from everybody who saw it. So I'm just going to share some of our statistics and analysis from that first year of the responsive website. We also got a 4-star rating in Builtin, which we were delighted with. Also delighted to have kept that now for 5 years running. But we'd be naive to think that the responsive website is the ultimate goal. It's gone from static web to dynamic web, Web 2.0, responsive, whatever's next. We need to be informed, and as pretty much everyone who's spoken today has touched on, we need good analytics to inform us of decisions, of traffic patterns, when for timings and things like that. I mean, our traffic is very predictable. This is a graph taken from the start of the month. If you watch carefully, this is the previous week, and the two overlaid, it's remarkably consistent, barring snow or any other freakish weather, which gives us massive spikes. 90% of our audience is UK, 60% of that is from Edinburgh. So overnight there's barely any traffic at all. We also wrote some scripts to use the Google API for analytics, and we went back to September 2011 to have a look at device mix. And you can see the blue line is desktop, and that's fallen from 90% down to around about 50% most days. And there are some interesting stories that you can get from these big spikes every year. That's Christmas Day. People obviously aren't in the office, but they're also getting new toys. It's quite flattering to think that one of the first things they'll do is go and look at edinburgh.gov for their own reasons. And if we extend a trend line, I think September this year will be the point at which mobile traffic is the most used. That's already happened. If you look at just the weekends, desktop is now well under 40% on a typical weekend. Google also granted us access to their real-time API, so we can look at space of several hours over a day. We now want to get that running constantly. You can see mobile traffic being a lot higher in the morning when people are on the way to work, in the evening when people are sitting back with their tablets, not so much in front of their desktops anymore. Now, to continue that analytics, we have various items in our estate. We've got the corporate website. We also have a CRM, parking systems, planning portal, consultation hub, and we're also integrating with MyGovScot single sign-on. We really need to accurately map customer journey across all those disparate systems, different servers, different platforms. How do we coordinate our analytics across that? We can't keep sending the suppliers different updates to their analytics. So Google Analytics is not being used in the traditional way that most people just put it into Jadu, into Looking Glass. We started using Google Tag Manager. I don't know if anyone's familiar. Google Tag Manager is a container for one or multiple tags. It gives you a central place where you can update it, and that will get rolled out on whatever system you put the container on. You can also grant third-party access with approval. So third parties can't just put random stuff on your website. You can approve that if needs be. It gives you ability to preview, check, and debug. It's versionable. Gives you a nice audit, and you can export. So you can build up your tag library in a development environment, export that to your live site. It's all very nice. If you're not a developer, if you're not comfortable with JavaScript, it's very easy to just click a few buttons, enter a few values to configure, and then that's you with a tag that's doing your analytics. It's not just Google products. You double-click LinkedIn, whatever you really want. You can add your own custom stuff as well. So we added Google Analytics. So we are using it. We're not abandoning it completely. It's just different implementation. You can choose the now modern Universal Analytics. You set your account ID. This UAID, that's a part of. There are three parts to Google Tag Manager. There's the tags, what used to be called macros, which are now called variables. That UAID is a variable, so it gives you a single place to update things. And the third part is a rule, tells you when to apply the tag. So for this, we're going to just stick it on all pages. There are lots of built-in variables you can get about the request, from page URL, form information, histories, any JavaScript errors. You can add custom. Again, many types of variables you can add. Excuse me. Whether that's a constant variable, which is where we could put in that tracking ID, or you can add custom JavaScript. We're using a bit of custom JavaScript here to give any telephone numbers on the website a consistent format for the analytics, to split into a consistent 3-digit, 4-digit format. We can then use that variable in a lookup table. So you can define a list of services and their appropriate phone numbers. These will all get included on every request, so it's best to keep them to a minimum, about a dozen or so. It also gives you full access to the DOM. So to inform us of what content people are looking at, we're analysing the first item in the breadcrumb. We're keeping a track of just that, so we can see what sections people are looking at, and that helps us inform in what order we put our services on the homepage. The tag manager will minimize your JavaScript, so you don't have to minimize it yourself. We're also using it to look at interactions for the social accounts and any sharing that happens. Email is still the most popular. Google Plus, not so much. We've also got another custom variable, which is tracking just the domain of any outbound links. The final part of the tag manager is when to apply the tags, when to create these variables. You can apply it on all pages. Some pages you can use simple logic, or apply regular expressions to the variables. So for our telephone numbers, any link in our contact panel that starts with TEL scheme, we can say we want to fire a call to action event on that. For document downloads, we match against the Jadu URL there for anything that begins with that path. And we can use all those all those variables, all those tags that are fired, to build up some nice dashboards in Google Analytics. These are emails that are generated from the website. Obviously, not all clicks on an email address will lead to an actual email people may decide to cancel. Phone calls that are triggered from the website. Again, it's not, the caveat there that it may not be a completed phone call. It's not full end-to-end call tracking with disposable phone numbers and what have you. But it gives us an insight on how well our CRM is holding up. Trying to channel shift, trying to get the phone calls down, get the emails down. And they are gradually falling as we do more and more online with the CRM. But in a wider context of increased traffic, the numbers are getting more and more impressive. Again, the piece I showed earlier on to get the top level categories. These helps inform us, as I say, the placement of services on the homepage. And again, as we developed earlier on, the outbound links. So we can see you see the traffic in between the CRM, between the planning portal, the parking payments, instead of having a big list of outbound links, we can aggregate those down just to the domains. It makes it really easy. You don't have to know much JavaScript or anything to get really good statistics across all your sites, and it's keeping us more informed to help develop easier journeys, which ultimately makes customers happier. It's one of these things that we're going to use to inform future iterations as we keep going, and whether that is semantic or whatever's after even that in terms of web development. It's been really good to see Paul's demo of abstracting all these elements down to twig helpers and classes and like that. It's going to make it a lot easier to make easier updates when new accepted forms of development come along, like semantic.